Hey everyone, CG here. My recent unboxing video of an expensive Aliexpress katana got surprisingly a lot of views, and that's why I decided to make a more detailed review of this katana with a proper test. But in this video I would also like to talk about one cheaper katana some of you wanted to know more about, so this will be a review of not one but two katanas. So, I bought both of these katanas on Aliexpress last year. And of course, anticipating your comments, these blades here are not katanas. This type of Japanese sword is called Shin Gunto, military Japanese sword of the World War II times, which is the type of Gunto swords in its turn. And Gunto is not a traditionally made katana, but mass-produced blade for Japanese army. The Shin Gunto was a weapon and symbol of rank used by the Imperial Japanese Army between the years of 1935 and 1945. You may find a lot of videos about this particular type of swords on YouTube, since Shin Gunto swords are World War II times swords, and there were hundreds of thousands of them produced during that period. So, any sword specialist or collector can tell of the history of these blades much better than I can. Here I'd like to focus on the blades themselves, as well as on their value for money. So, these are copies of two Shin Gunto swords bought on Aliexpress. That's why I've decided to review and compare them in one single video, and both happen to be of rather good quality for their price. Well, let's start with this one. This one cost me nearly $150 including the shipping price. This is a copy of Type 95 Shin Gunto. This type of Shin Gunto was released in 1935 and designed for use by non-commissioned officers. It was designed to resemble an officer's Shin Gunto, but be cheaper to mass produce. All NCO swords had machine-made blades with deep fullers and a serial number stamped on the blade in Arabic numerals. Initially the hilts were cast out of metal, either copper or aluminum, and painted to resemble the traditionally produced items on the officers' swords. They had brass guards similar to the officers' Shin Gunto, so as you can see the copy is pretty accurate. Though the hilt isn't made of copper or aluminum, it's brass as well as the guard. The saya is made of low carbon steel according to the information the seller provided me with. And let's finally take a look at the blade. Here it is. The blade is made of 1060 carbon steel, so they say in the description on the website. I have no idea whether that's true or not. If you know for sure what this steel is, feel free to let me know in the comments. But something makes me think it's a real deal. At least this blade looks like something similar to decent quality steel in comparison to some other Chinese katanas that may be made of terribly cheap steel sometimes. Here's a stamped serial number. I don't know what these numbers initially meant on real Shin Guntos, but I think here it's an imitation that doesn't really mean anything. But at least the saya has the same number on it. The blade looks pretty well, though it has just slight sharpening, not as sharp as the second Shin Gunto we have here. So if you have one of such blades, you'll also have to think about sharpening. I'm not going to try to cut some paper here, as I did in my previous video about $100 Aliexpress katanas. This test can't really prove or demonstrate a blade's quality or sharpness, but I have a better test that you'll see a bit later in this video. And now let's take a look at this one. This blade is definitely more interesting. This one cost me nearly $400, including the shipping price. This is a copy of Type 98 Shin Gunto. Type 98 occurred in 1938 and was essentially a simplification of the Type 94. There are almost no differences between these two types in fact. Let's start with the tsuka. The hilt is constructed from wood covered in rayskin with brown cloth bindings holding a brass ornament with cherry blossom motifs on either side. The pommel is brown painted brass with gold paint highlights with a central ring holding a brown cloth rope, which I wrapped around the saya here. The guard is brass with cherry blossom motifs on both sides. The scabbard is brown and silver painted steel with a wooden interior, and brown painted brass bands and butt with gold highlights. I really like these love scenes from medieval Japan represented on it. Makes it great looking as a decoration. Now let's draw the blade out. It's 1095 carbon steel with a tempered line. I'm not a specialist, so I'm afraid I can't say if it's a real Hammond line or not, and how accurate the tempering was during the process of creation of this blade. If you know how this is done, I'd be glad to read some comments about it, even if it's fake and bare imitation of real Hammond line. But nonetheless, the cutting edge is really sharp, and it can easily cut through some materials. And I'm not talking about paper here. Just before I show a proper test, know that I didn't sharpen these blades additionally, neither did I do anything else to them. They're all the same as they were when they came to me. I didn't even have to assemble them myself since both of them were assembled already. And here is a classic test with the bottles. Let's find out what each of these blades can do in terms of their real purpose. I'll start with the first Shin Gunto. Number 1. A thick plastic bottle. Didn't make it. Number 2. The same bottle and the same result. Number 3. And it made it. That was all with this blade, unfortunately. I think it can do much better if sharpened. Now it's the turn of the second Shin Gunto. Number 1. Looks that was easy, especially since it was thin plastic. Number 2. That was easy too. Number 3. A big bottle. This should be a challenge. And that was a good clean cut. I was really surprised myself rewatching this afterwards. I wish I could do some more challenging tests to this blade that day, but that big bottle was the last I had for this test. This one is really capable of slicing some shit. And as a bonus, this tin Coke bottle. Not bad for someone doing this for the first time, I guess. This is it. So the conclusion is this second katana is not only suitable for decoration, but also can be used for its real purpose. The first one also looks okay for its price. Moreover, it's easy to find on Aliexpress. It's being sold by many sellers there for affordable prices. Both blades are well made, all the details are fit, nothing's loosened. Generally, I think it's a real deal for these prices in a case if you want to buy a Shin Gunto, but can't afford a real Japanese one. Of course, they are just copies, but these copies were enough to satisfy my curiosity. Anyway, the choice is up to you. But just in case, I will leave the links to the stores where I bought these two in the description. And if you have any comments, additions or corrections, feel free to comment. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, then don't hesitate to press like and subscribe to the channel. Some more videos about blades are coming soon, and even a couple of nice replicas of swords from the Witcher games. Thanks for watching, and until the next one.